Welcome to DellyMaths Concepts. What we're looking at today is a question 4 from a CXE paper. Let us go into it. So we're looking at question 4. It says a rectangle PQRS has a diagonal PR where P is the point -310 and R is the point 4, -4. Calculate the length of the line PR. So basically, we're doing the length of the line. And there is a formula that could find the length of the line, and it is developed from the Pythagorean theorem, and it reads, if we want to find the length of any line, so the length of the line is going to equal to x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, and we take the square root of that idea. So that was developed from the Pythagorean theorem. So basically, to find the length of any line when we're on the coordinate plane, we only need 2 points. So watch this. So let us write down our 2 points. So we have -3, 10, and we have 4, -4, right? So let us label. Remember the x coordinate comes first. So this is x1 followed by y1, and this is x2 followed by y2. All we have to do is just to put it in that formula. So let us put it there. So we're saying the length, we want to find the length of PR, and this is going to equal to x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is -3, and then we're going to square that, plus y2, which is -4, minus y1, which is 10, and we're going to square that. So let us put this together. Remember, though, that right here, where we have the two negatives clashing, it's going to actually be a plus. So technically, we're getting a 7 from that. So what we're actually having here is a 7 square plus -14 in bracket square. So 7 square will give us 49. And then when you square -14, we're going to get about 196. So this gives us 196. And it's positive. Because remember, anything squared is actually positive. So when we add our 196 plus 49, we're looking at 245. So all we got to do is to take the square root of that, and we're looking at approximately 15.65 units long. So the basic idea is that we're applying the Pythagorean theorem right there to find that. Let's move on to another question. Now, this question says, can you determine the equation of the line PR? Let's write back the points that we actually had. So for the point P, we actually had -3 with a 10. And for the point R, we have 4, -4. So those are the points that we actually got. So because those are the points that we got, yes, we can write the equation of this line. So depends on what form we want to put it in. We can put it in many forms. So I'm going to write it in a point slope form. So I'm going to use the point slope form, okay? So in the point slope form, I need this slope and a point, and I'm going to write it. So the point slope form looks like this. Y minus y1 is equal to my slope, and then x minus x1. And that is okay as is, because they did not tell the form they want me to use. So I'm using any form I feel okay to use. Now, let us get the slope here. Remember, x1, y1, x2, y2. We can find our slope by using the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And this is rise over run, vertical over horizontal. or stuff like that. So let us substitute y2, that's -4, minus y1, and that's 10 over x2 which is 4 minus x1 which is -3. Let us keep simplifying. This is going to give me -14 over 7. And -14 over 7 will give me a slope of -2. So I do have my slope to be -2, so I could put it at the side here. So my slope, and we call it m, and this is equal to -2. Now I'm going to pick any point that I want, okay? So I'm just going to pick on this point P here to help me out. Remember the format for a point slope form. Y minus y1 is equal to m, open bracket, x minus x1. So all I'm going to do is to substitute what I have. Y will be y, but y1, okay? Y1 is 10, so it's going to be minus 10, and this is equal to my slope, which is -2, open bracket, x, and then minus x1, which is -3. We have to be careful here. Remember, there's a negative that's in the old setup, and then there's a negative number coming. So let us just rewrite this quickly. So y minus 10 is equal to -2, open bracket, x, and then this will become a plus, so we have +3. And this is okay. All right. So we're looking at a function question here. So it says two functions, f and g, are defined as follows. Okay. F of x is equal to 3x plus 1, and g of x is equal to x squared. The question says find in its simplest form an expression for f of x minus 2. What we want to bear in mind is everything that is in the parentheses is an input. So this is an input right here. Okay. So let us go for that f function, because if I'm going to be using the f function, I need to have it here to work with. So f of x is equal to 3x plus 1. Our intention is to find f of x minus 2. What this means, so I'm going to substitute x minus 2 where the x is. So what we're having here is 3. And instead of having x there, I'm going to put my input, because these input can only be substituted where x is. So 3 times x becomes 3 times x minus 2. Doesn't matter what this is. I'm using this to go in the place of dx. And then we're going to work this out. So as you can see, I'm going to distribute this 3 inside the bracket. So I'm going to have 3 times x, that is 3x. 3 times -2, that's -6. And then there is a plus 1 that was around there all along. So the final analysis of this is that f of x minus 2 is equal to 3x minus 5. Now, remember, -6 plus 1 is actually -5, and that is how we got that. Let's take a look at the other question. Now, for the other question, we're working with the g function, and we're supposed to find g of 3x plus 2 in a bracket then plus 10. Now, I want you to pay attention to this part here. This is still our input, which means that that's the part that we're going to be moving, and we're going to put it in the g function where x is. But what we need to do is to remember what the g function is. So g of x is actually equal to x squared. Remember, we're trying to find g of 3x plus 2 in a bracket, then we have plus 10. So I want us to be very careful. All we're going to do is to remember that the input, which is this part, has to go where the x is. So I'm going to open a parenthesis for my x. This plus 10, I could put it back because it's not a part of my input. So my input, you notice I'm putting back my square because I'm squaring x now. So we have 3x plus 2. So basically, I'm going to put the 3x plus 2 where the x was. okay? And then there's a plus then hanging at the back. Let us finalize this. How do we square this? Well, it depends on how you want to do it. There are multiple ways to do it. So what it means is that 3x plus 2 must be multiplied by itself. And then after that, we're going to be adding 10 to it. So, so I'm going to work 3x times 3x, and that's going to give 9x to the second. And then 3x will be multiplied by 2. It's going to give me positive 6x. Then the 2x, then the 2 times the 3x will give me positive 6x again. And then the 2 times the 2 will give me positive 4. Remember, there was a plus 10 around there still. Let us simplify this idea. 9x squared is still 9x squared. There is no other term like it there. And then 6x plus 6x becomes 12x. And 4 plus 10 is actually 14. And this is well simplified, as you could see there. Now, that's it. Thank you for watching DellyMaths Concepts, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. See you next time as I drop more videos.